What is up, everybody? Happy Monday. It is the last week of the regular season, and we have a lot to talk about. There's still a lot going on. The AL West is a hot mess. Rangers, Mariners, Astros, we're going to cover them all. We're going to talk about the NL wildcard race and the chaos that is taking place there. We're going to talk about the Atlanta Braves and an injury that might hurt them as we head towards the playoffs. It's Monday. We have Team of the Week, Player of the Week, Power Rankings. We got a lot, so let's get to it.
Fly ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run!
Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment. Happy Monday, my friends. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I am joined by Alex Curry. Alex, good weekend?
Oh, I had like peak happiness weekend.
Whoa.
Yeah, two of my favorite things I just got to do all weekend. Sports all day and then music at night. I've gone to a show every night since Thursday. So it has just been so exciting. And then Sunday, the world got a combined of like both the favorites. We had Taylor Swift in Kansas City watching Travis Kelce. And I usually don't care at all about celebrity couples, but I love this. And broke out the sequence again for T Swift being back in the sports world.
You're wearing that because of Taylor Swift.
Yep.
At a football game.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Did you have a good weekend?
I did have a good weekend. A lot of sports.
Yeah.
A lot of football. Good weekend. No golf. Been a while since I've golfed.
Whoa.
Wednesday. That's
Is everything
not true.
okay?
That's not true. Golfed Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah, you're
but
fine.
yeah, good
You're
weekend.
fine.
Great weekend. A lot of good baseball going on. The big series was Mariners Rangers.
Oof.
That was the biggest series of the year. We're gonna break all of that down tonight. Alex,
is even bigger though.
The Astros and Mariners are facing off. Both teams heading in the wrong direction.
Both got swept this weekend.
And both got swept. Both teams in jeopardy of missing out on the playoffs. The Astros are currently right there in, and the Mariners are currently right there out. Obviously, this series will go a long, long way to determining the outcome. And it starts tonight with Justin on the mound against Luis Castillo and what is just a remarkable pitcher's duel.
How are we feeling about this right now?
I just don't feel good about the Astros. We're going to talk a lot about it, but they're not a fun watch.
No.
I'm not. It's a really big game, biggest game of the year.
I think this series will determine which one of these teams gets a wild card spot and which one is unfortunately going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't agree nor disagree because it's one of the overreactions we'll talk about in a little while.
Okay,
so I'm not tipping my hand.
Okay, then let's start. Let's get right to it because as you mentioned, this AL West race is just an absolute hot mess. But our first overreaction, the Rangers will win the AL West.
The Rangers are going to win the AL West. I do believe it happens. They've put themselves in the driver's seat to get there for the first time in a while. They were obviously in the
majority
driver's
of the
seat,
season,
the strong majority of the season, and then they went on quite the downward spiral. And thanks to their sweep of the Mariners and the Astros playing terrible baseball over the last couple of weeks, they're looking good, sitting pretty there at the top of the AL West, 2.5 games ahead of the Astros, who are in second place. The Mariners are 3 games behind. So Mariners and Astros are just separated by a half game right now. Look, the Rangers hit. They just hit. And they're not going to be a fun team to play in October. They are going to make the playoffs. I do think they are going to win the AL West now. And it's going to be a fun stretch run for sure, but I think they can get it done. There is obviously still that really big series against the Mariners to end the season.
Yeah, this weekend.
So they have the Angels, and then the Mariners.
Again.
So they should do to the Angels what the Astros weren't able to do to the Royals.
Oof, yeah.
And that's I think if you win 2 of 3 against the Angels, you're dissatisfied. And that's how the Astros should have felt. If they won 2 of 3 against the Royals, they should not have been pleased. They needed to sweep them. And they got swept, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think the Rangers need to sweep. And if they can sweep the Angels, who are not anywhere close to the full strength that we saw them at one point this year, honestly, not even for that long. The Angels are a shell of what they could have possibly been had injuries and everything not taken place. They need to sweep them, but I think they take care of business. And I ultimately think that the Rangers are now going to win the AL West, which if you're winning the AL West, you go from on the cusp, a wild card seed, or AL West winning it gets you a bye in the first round and the number 2 seed. So winning that division is going to be huge.
We kind of talked about this when you slump, because every team's going to go through different slumps throughout the season. The Rangers, it was sketchy there for a bit because, as you mentioned, they controlled the AL West a majority of the season, had a really tough stretch, and then turned it around just in the nick of time. They went 11-4 their last 15 games, and that's what you need to do at this point in the season to not only get into the playoffs, but now jump the Astros and take over the AL West. But let's stay in the AL West here for our next overreaction. The Mariners' playoff hopes are slipping away.
The Mariners' worst case scenario came true over this past weekend. It was the biggest series of the year, as I mentioned. All hands on deck. It was the beginning of the playoffs for the Mariners and the Rangers this weekend in that series, and they just crumbled and fell apart. And it wasn't a poorly played series. They were all really good games, but they didn't win a single one, and they got swept by the Rangers, and that was worst case scenario. And now you're on the outside looking in. Now you still control your own destiny because you play everybody that you need to play. If you're the Mariners, you still play the Astros. You still play the Rangers again. They could win the division. You know, if they sweep the Rangers at home, the last series of the year, they could win the AL West. But absolutely, their playoff hopes slipped further and further away after that weekend series against the Rangers, and not good for the Mariners.
It's just crazy after having the incredible August, really since the All-Star break that they had. They went on an incredible run to a complete, like the worst time to have a slump in the month of September. They've only won 2 series this month. It's brutal. It's unfortunate because it really looked like they were trending in the right direction. But not only the Mariners, but our next overreaction also kind of slumping at the wrong time. The Astros blow a golden opportunity against the Royals. I know, deep breath.
The current play of the Astros is embarrassing and unacceptable. And there's really no way around that. It's downright embarrassing. You get swept by the Kansas City Royals in the biggest series of the year, in a series that can really put a stamp on what you know, like getting to where you need to be and winning the division. And they've now lost 9 of their last 12 games. They've lost 4 straight series against the A's and the Royals twice.
Oh, that's bad.
One of those series was against the Orioles, very good baseball team, and probably going to be the 1 seed if they hold on in the AL East. But 4 straight series, 1 against the A's, and 2 of those were against the Royals. And you get swept in the biggest series. It's unacceptable. It really is. It is frustrating to watch. It is frustrating to watch them as someone that hopes they get into the playoffs so my brother can play in October baseball again. To watch them night in and night out, it's unacceptable. I mean, they're clearly, they are a better team than everybody they're losing to. And these are the biggest games of the year. And it's just all crumbling apart for whatever reason. Well, you know, some nights it's pitching. A lot of these nights lately, it's been pitching. You look up at the beginning of the game. If you miss the first 10 minutes, you look up and it feels like the Astros have been down 3-0. 3-0 Royals in the first inning. And then all of a sudden you're trying to dig your way back out of a hole. Of course they blew a golden opportunity, but they're blowing the division and they're watching their playoff hopes dwindle away at this point. If they keep playing like this for the rest of the season, the Houston Astros are going to miss the playoffs. And with that roster and those players and their experience, unacceptable and embarrassing.
Well, let's stick with the Astros in the series that starts today for our next overreaction. The losers of the Astros-Mariners series will miss the playoffs.
I do think that the loser of this series, whoever loses this series, I think is going to miss the playoffs. You currently have the Astros and they're in that final spot, and then the Mariners are just a half game behind them. So if the Mariners win the series, then they're going to be in the playoffs, and the Astros are going to be on the outside looking in. And then the Astros play a really good D-backs team to finish out the year that's going to be fighting for their lives and their playoff hopes. And it's just I don't see. I really do think one of these two teams is going to get in, either the Astros or the Mariners. The Mariners have had their number all year long, which is a role reversal from what we've seen in the past. And a big reason why the Astros are here right now and clinging on to their last hopes is because of how well the Mariners have played against them this year.
Yeah.
And now you start this series. And I know I've said this about another series, but now at this point, every series you play becomes the biggest series of the year. This is absolutely the biggest series of the year for the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners. And I think whoever loses it is going to miss the playoffs.
All right, well, let's move to the National League. The Braves are vulnerable without Charlie Morton.
I do believe the Mariners I do believe the Braves are vulnerable in the playoffs, or at least in the NLDS, without Charlie Morton. And that's the word on the street, is that he's going to be missing time probably through the NLDS. And I think they're vulnerable if they're playing the Phillies.
Okay.
I think the Phillies can beat anybody in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Would I pick the Braves? Absolutely. The Braves are the best team in baseball. But without Charlie Morton, big game pitcher, big playoff pitcher, that's a big loss. And they're not going to have him in the DS. This is what Brian Snitker had to say about it. He said he's going to miss the division series, and hopefully we can advance and have him ready for the NLCS. Big blow. That does hurt them. Their pitching is good. They'll be, I think they're going to be okay. They still have really good pitchers, but against that dominant Phillies offense, I think they're most vulnerable in that NLDS if it's against the Phillies. And I absolutely think they could win that series. But the Braves are so good.
They're so good, top to bottom.
Good. If anybody's built to lose a pitcher right before the playoffs, the Braves will be fine. They can outslug you. They can outpitch you. And we'll see. But definitely makes them vulnerable.
All right, let's move to the next big race. The NL wild card is still too close to call.
I'm loving this race, but it is starting to take a bit of shape. I think the D-backs are going to get in.
Yep.
The Cubbies are right there in the third and final spot with the Marlins 1 game back of them and the Reds 2.5 back. So I'm starting to, in my head, think Reds are probably out. Marlins have the more favorable schedule, though. So I think there's one spot left. I think it's going to be Phillies D-backs.
So Chicago or Miami.
The D-backs will have to face the Astros in that last series of the year, and they're both going to be playing for a playoff spot.
Yeah, fighting for their lives.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, very much so, still too close to call. But the Marlins, with the much more favorable schedule, the Cubs still have to play the Braves and the Brewers, who they have really struggled against this year. So, man, I mean, you'd rather be the Cubs right now, sitting in a playoff spot. But if you're the Marlins, you feel really good about yourselves with that remaining schedule and just being 1 game back right now. But this race, the Phillies are in.
Yes.
The Phillies are going to end up with the number 1 wild card seed. So the number 4 seed in the playoffs. D-backs are in second, just a half game within a wild card spot. The Cubs are in third. And then the Marlins are just 1 game behind them. So, yeah, another race. These are the 2 races, right?
Yeah,
the NL wild card race and the AOS.
This is, as a fan, a baseball fan, like this is what you hope for at the end of the season, right? Like meaningful, like down to the last game baseball.
Yeah.
This is epic. This is epic.
We're going to get it in the AOS, the AL wild card, and the NL wild card for sure. This last week it's all of those things will be decided here. It's
fun.
Yeah.
Time for Mondays with Mom.
Ooh,
what you got for us this week?
Yes, it is. Let me pull it up. Mom was on one this time. It's long.
Okay.
It's long. First off, it has a lot to do with you, Alex. We were discussing last week, shopping and packing for the playoffs and how we go about that.
Planner,
and I was like,
planner.
yeah, I just packed 2 bombers and a couple long sleeve shirts and I'm good to go. So mom said, let me know how the shopping goes with Alex. You're pretty stuck in your ways. I'm the same way. When I wear something that I like, I wear it over and over, i.e. your 2 bomber jackets and numerous long sleeve button downs. Some of your shirts I think are from high school or close to it. LOL.
No.
And then it goes on. Also tell Alex the packing struggle is real and I understand. For sure it's not a real world problem and I'm not complaining. But when you're lucky enough to go on this journey, which we have been a few times, it's hard to wrap your head around the many different scenarios you could possibly encounter and need to pack for. I'm a heavy duty packer to begin with, and then just think about not knowing where you could be going. You could possibly need shorts, a winter coat, scarves, gloves, and even dress up clothes if you go out for a nice dinner one night. Crazy with a K. She's crazy with a K, but good. I just hope we get to go this year.
Oh, yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy because like we have no idea where we're going. We know we're going to be on the road for like 3 weeks, but nobody knows. So many different weather like possibilities.
Yeah, I typically like.
You're fine.
Jeans and a t-shirt.
I know.
And if it's
I know
cold
the
outside,
4 button downs that you own. I know the 2 bomber jackets that you own. I know the 3 pairs of Nikes that you'll probably bring. Your black skinny jeans.
Plus from a couple of years ago I had
like,
1 pair.
I know your whole
Last year I had
wardrobe.
like 2 pairs. This year I just add shoes to the equation every.
Can we go shopping? Can I take you shopping?
Yeah, I told you I would like to.
All right.
Yeah. Mom just throw me under the bus there. Very stuck in my ways.
You are.
I am, for sure.
That's okay.
Yep.
Team of the week.
Yep.
Is this the last team of the week before team of the month, or is this team of the year? Yeah, is this the last week before team of the year, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point made by Alex. Absolutely right. Team of the week time, where we go around the field from catcher all the way through the field to DH, starting pitcher, closer, and it is the best from each position from the week that was in Major League Baseball.
Starting behind the plate with Adley Rutschman.
Yeah, Adley behind the plate for the Orioles, and on my team of the week, 440, a homer, 4 RBIs, a 1224 OPS. Adley is primed and ready for a playoff push for the O's. It's fun to say that. He's locked in right now, and when Adley's locked in, so are the O's. So Adley's behind the plate for me.
All right, at first base, Christian Encarnacion Strand.
Yes, CES. 368, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, 842 slugging percentage. I like this guy a lot. I liked him a lot when he was called up. I was hoping when Ellie got called up, they would call him up at the same time. I just felt like him, and he had nothing left to prove in the minor leagues. Yeah. And he comes up, had a fairly good start, but it wasn't jumping off the page of you. And now these numbers he's putting up. I mean, he had had over 1,000 OPS season long in the minor leagues, like career OPS. Absolutely crazy. He's my first baseman.
All right, moving to second base, Ozzie Albies.
Yeah, Ozzie got to the 30 homer mark. The Braves, just everybody in that lineup is going to finish the season with 30 plus homers. 464 on the week for Ozzie, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 5 doubles, and a slugging percentage of .857. Ozzie is one of the, I do think he gets a lot of credit, but I would still venture to say that he's probably the most underrated second baseman in the game of baseball. The guy's hitting over 30 homers in a year. He steals a bunch of bases. He's a switch hitter. I like him a lot. And I feel like if you look at his baseball reference page, it's actually the beginning of his career, really good. And then he is just kind of derailed by injuries, and it just kind of like put him off the map for a bit, and people just kind of wrote him off. And then he was dealing with injuries when he did come back. But of the full seasons that Ozzie Albies has played, he's one of the best second basemen in the game of baseball. He's really, really good. And he's on my team of the week this week.
Third base, Ke'Bryan Hayes.
Yeah, Ke'Bryan Hayes is one of the, if not the best defensive third baseman in the game. And he's been hitting it pretty well lately. 370, 2 homers, 3 doubles, and an OPS over 1,000 on the week for Ke'Bryan Hayes. Give me a left side of the infield of Ke'Bryan Hayes and O'Neal Cruz next year, and let them stay healthy all year long, because it's going to be fun.
All right, shortstop. Finally, towards the end of the season, started to pick up. Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, Xander, here it is. What Padres fans all wanted. Team of the week in September when they're out of the playoff race. 407 on the week, a homer, 3 RBIs, an OPS over 1,100 on the week. he had a good week. A lot of Padres had a really good week. They're playing their best baseball that they have pretty much all year long at this point. Just too little, too late for a very, very talented team. But yeah, Xander has turned it around.
All right, moving to the outfield. Now, remember, these are just 3 outfielders, not by position, starting with Nick Castellanos.
Great week for Nick Castellanos. A lot of RBIs, a lot of homers, 4 homers and 11 RBIs on the week, and an OPS of over 1,300 and batted 360 on the week, and a great defensive play out in the outfield, saving a game for the Phillies in the bottom of the 9th. Nick killing it this week.
Yeah.
First of 3 outfielders.
Second, Aaron Judge.
Yep, Judge as well. Judge is back and healthy and hitting homers. He had 3 on the week, 7 RBIs, 444 batting average, and OPS over 1,500 on the week. Good to see Aaron Judge healthy and playing well. Again, the Yankees are eliminated from the playoffs, so they're not playing for anything, but it is good to see one of the best players in the game and one of the faces of baseball playing really good baseball.
Juan Soto wrapping up your outfield.
Yeah, another Padre. Killed it this week, 455, 2 homers, 9 RBIs, on base over 500, just on base over half the time this week. Again, just too little, too late for the Padres.
Yep. All right, moving to designated hitter, JD Martinez.
Yeah, JD killed it this week. 400, 5 homers, 12 RBIs, slugged over 1,000 on the week. Yeah, he's been huge to that Dodgers lineup since he came back from that injury. Just came back and it was like he didn't miss a beat. And yeah, he killed it.
Starting pitcher, Hunter Green.
He just punched out the world the other day. It was Wednesday, 7 innings pitched. Struck out 14 guys, career high, just 1 earned run, 3 hits, 1 walk. Was throwing 101 miles an hour late in the game. He had the fastball and the off-speed pitches all working. It was just nasty. It was an absolute clinic for Hunter Green. And yeah, I watched that entire game, and it was fun to watch him go to work for sure. And it's unfortunate that he missed a good chunk of time this year, because I think we'd be singing a little bit different story for the Reds, perhaps, if all their pitchers stayed healthy. Unfortunately, injuries happen over the course of 162. Happened to him, and he's one of the best pitchers in baseball when he's locked in. Very raw, young, but he throws 100 plus with really good off-speed stuff. And when he's on, he can be one of the best pitchers in baseball.
I feel like that's kind of the theme of the Reds this year. Very young, very raw, but very talented.
Yeah.
So that's good future. So let's close things out with your closing pitcher, Jose Alvarado.
Yep, 2 saves on the week and a hold, 3 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 5 strikeouts in those 3 innings, and 1 hit. Jose Alvarado, fun fact, had to bunt off of him in the minor leagues. He was the lefty that was throwing over 100 miles an hour, and at the time really didn't know where it was going. Probably the most uncomfortable at bat that I've ever had. And then I hear that I have to bunt, and then you just poop your pants a little bit at the plate.
I didn't need that visual, but thank you.
I did not get the bunt down.
Yeah, I figured.
I think I took the first pitch.
Okay.
Called it a strike. I think I attempted at the second one, fouled it back, 0-2 count, singled through the left side. I ended up with a hit. But yeah, not a fun at bat.
So that was a success.
Yeah, it's a great success.
It's a great success.
That's my closer. Yep.
All right. Player of the week. Who you got?
My player of the week this week is JD Martinez for what he did at the most RBIs, 12 RBIs on the week, 5 homers on the week is just ridiculous, and hit 400 while doing it. Talked about him obviously on Team of the Week, but a great week for JD Martinez.
I also have JD Martinez as my player of the week. It's hard not to when you have a guy hitting 5 home runs and 12 RBI and batting 400. It was the clear favorite.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That does it for Team of the Week and Player of the Week, and both of our Players of the Week. Alex, it is time for this week's new and improved power rankings. So
let's move.
Stage, grab my bat so I have something to do with my hands. All right, so a good bit of movement here. Obviously, coming down the stretch, there's a lot going on in the baseball world, and a lot of teams playing really well at the right time, and a few teams that we mentioned that are not playing well at this current time. And I'm just gonna, little foreshadowing, these power rankings, there were some movements, big movements that aligned with what's been happening lately.
Yeah, a lot of movement in the middle, but starting at number 10, staying there, the D-backs.
Yeah, D-backs stayed put. They're still within reach of, they're still in that second wild card spot. The Cubs are right on their heels. Cubs had a really good weekend series, but I still took the D-backs and I just kept them where they are.
Okay.
D-backs are looking good, kept them there.
At number 9, also staying at number 9, the Twins.
Yep, Twins stayed here as well. Winners of the AL Central. Congratulations to the Minnesota Twins. They are back in the playoffs. They're 83-73. Don't sleep on the Twins in October. I know they haven't done a lot of winning in October over the past many years, but with the pitching staff the way it is, Sonny Gray is probably having the most underrated elite season of any pitcher in baseball this year. Pablo Lopez as well, Joe Ryan. That pitching staff is really capable of shutting down an offense, and if they get any offense, they're going to be a problem.
All right, at number 8, down one spot, the Blue Jays.
Yeah, Blue Jays are, I think, in a good position to make the playoffs. They're 87-69. Didn't really bump them down much because of what they did, but it's more just all the movement that you mentioned in the middle of the pack.
Yep.
But yeah, Blue Jays here at number 8.
At number 7, also down one spot, the Brewers.
Yep, Brew Crew 88-68. They are winners of the NL Central, back in the playoffs again. And again, the Brewers and Twins kind of feel similar.
Yep.
Both Central Division winners, both can pitch really well. Both are kind of dependent on can you get any offense from your offense in October. Because you just don't want to run into a rotation of, Corbin Burnes, Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta in the playoffs. And then a back into the bullpen with Devin Williams and nasty back into the bullpen. You don't want to do that. But Milwaukee down 1. Again, I will say this. It is not because of anything they did, but more to do with who is in front of them.
Yeah, at number 6, they were not ranked last week, the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers have taken everything back into their control, right? And the Rangers were up here for a while this year, right? In the top 3-4 area for a while, and then just slowly bumped them down and down and down and further until they were completely out. Well, they're back. They did exactly what they needed to do. Best case scenario for them in the biggest series all year long was sweeping the Seattle Mariners. They're now winning the AL West by a good bit.
I mean, they went in with the exact same record as the Mariners going into that weekend series. And then both the Mariners and Astros got swept, and they went right up.
Yep. So they're leaders of the AL West, sitting pretty to win that division and playing really good baseball right now. So I bumped them back up a good bit in the power rankings.
That's fair. All right, let's go to your top 5. Starting at number 5, up 3 spots, the Phillies.
Yeah, the Phillies are on a winning streak. The offense feels like it's clicking on all cylinders right now. That offense is dangerous. And this is the best that offense has been all year long.
Perfect
Trey
timing.
Turner, for the majority of the year, wasn't great. Until the standing ovation. Also, I think it was today. I think it was fan appreciation, or on Sunday, fan appreciation in Philly. And Trey Turner had some really nice words for the crowd and how much that place means to him and how it helped turn his season around. And it really did.
Yeah.
And it turned that offense around when he got going. 87-69. They are going to be a wild card team, but a very, very dangerous wild card team for sure.
The power of positivity. That's what the Philly fans did for Trey Turner, and I love that. All right, let's move to number 4. The Rays staying at number 4.
95-62 for the Tampa Bay Rays, sitting pretty right here still, not up, not down.
Yep.
They're going to be in the playoffs. It is still within reach, the AL East to a degree. They could still make it happen. Big couple. They do have to play. They play the Blue Jays here down the stretch, which is going to be a big series for both of those teams. Especially the Rays are in, but if they want to win the division, they're going to have to sweep some of the games down here in the stretch run. But 95-62, outside chance of getting to 100. We shall see, but they stayed put at number 4.
Moving to top 3. These were the first 3 teams to clinch. The Dodgers at number 3.
Yeah, Dodgers staying put here, 95-59. Really, really, really good season. Concerns of the pitching in the postseason, but they can outslug anybody and everybody on any given night. And you know what I think they should do? I think Bobby Miller should get the ball in game 1. Tell the kid that you're our guy. He's got the playoff stuff. I love Bobby Miller, and I think he should be the guy that if they go on a run, I think that should be because Bobby Miller is your guy, and this would be a good postseason to let him take off the reins. Let him go.
Story
Let Bobby
too.
Miller be what it appears he is. So.
All right, at number 2, the Orioles.
Yeah, the O's are 97-59. Magic number dwindling down every single day to win the AL East. They're a couple games ahead of the Rays as we head into the last week of this season.
Mm-hmm.
The O's are great. I'm really excited to watch the O's in the playoffs. And
First playoff berth since 2016. It's exciting.
And selfishly, I would love to go back to Camden Yards in the ALCS. And
Ben wants to go to the Bird Bath. We all know that.
I love that stadium. It's one of my favorite stadiums. It's close to home. Just a great spot. And but mostly I just want to sit in the Bird Bath.
Yeah, and we know.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 1, the Braves.
Yeah, Braves are still the best team in baseball. This is not going to change for the rest of the season. First team in baseball to 100 wins. They're 156. 156, not 156, in case anybody had any confusion at all. Just needed to clarify that. Best lineup in baseball, top to bottom, great pitching. Charlie Morton being out for the NLDS does hurt them. But they are certainly talented enough to push through that. And, first team to 100 wins. We will not see many this year, which is something I predicted at the beginning of the season because of the travel and the opponents and all that stuff. But the Braves did end up getting there, dominated the NL East all year long, and have dominated the game of baseball all year long, really, as well. So top 10, D-backs, Twins, Blue Jays, Brewers, Rangers, Phillies, Rays, Dodgers, Orioles, and the Atlanta Braves rounding out this week's top 10.
And the final week of regular season baseball, guys.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Feels like just yesterday we were at the World Baseball Classic watching.
I know.
Yesterday's a stretch. I don't like that saying. It doesn't feel like yesterday. But it feels like fairly recently that we were down there in Miami celebrating with Lars Nootbaar down on the field when they were walking off in the World Baseball Classic. But thank you for listening to this Monday episode of Flippin' Bats. Big week in baseball, and everything you need to know, everything you could possibly want to know, we will talk about it here on Flippin' Bats throughout this entire week. Thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe anywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever. We're also on all social media, including YouTube. You can watch everything we do at Flippin' Bats Pod. For all of them. But that does it for this Monday episode. Until tomorrow, my friends, peace.